But anyway, let's proceed, children. Right now, I'm still preparing my second device because I could hardly, was that? I could hardly see you at this moment. So by the time that I ask you a question, please speak. Is that clear? Now, let's proceed. Here are the things that you have to achieve today. Oh, by the way, please introduce your name, while uh, if you want to recite, or I will just be guessing already or just be calling in na lang. All right? First, you need to determine the significance of campus journalism from its history down to its modern cultural relevance, and then distinguish the principles of journalism. I guess this will be tackled next week in the second part. And then relate the significance of campus journalism in understanding the current events. And I guess you're very much aware about this, no? So what is journalism? Shai Parcon, please share something. What is journalism? Shai?
Sir, do you hear me, sir?
Is Shai here?
I'm here,
Oh, yeah,
sir. Do you hear
Shai?
me po? Do you hear me, sir?
Yes, I could hear you.
Sir, based on my readings a while ago,
Yes, yes.
journalism
Yes,
comes
yes,
from the
yes.
Latin word journal, which means daily. Sir, hello?
All right, thank you, Shai. Please call the next one. Journalism came from the world journal, which means, yeah.
Kyla po.
Shai, please call the next one.
Kyla, sir.
Kyla.
Sir,
All right, Kyla,
yes,
anything to add? Yes, thank
for me,
you.
sir,
Oh, Kyla, go.
journal, journalism talks about the daily events or the current events that is happening around the world, and it talks about the news and what approach can we use in dealing with it.
All right, very good. So it's something to do with news, and what approach would you use in dealing with those things or in understanding it, right? Next, Kyla, call another one.
Krisha, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
Krisha.
sir, can you hear me po? Yes.
Yes, yes.
For me, journalism is like what they said a while ago. It's writing every day of what's happening around you, what's the truth, and what's the trend, sir. Also, sir, for you to be able to write, you should read a lot newspaper.
Very
That's it.
good. So you have to read a lot about it so that you will be able to gain that kind of journalistic skills, right? Keep in mind, children, that as a language teacher, you should be aware of about it, the journalistic skills, because this is quite related with communication skills, but this is not really the simple skill that you have to learn if you want to be proficient in a particular field. Is that clear? Now, I guess you had mentioned this already for a while. Yes, came from the Latin word journal, which means daily. According to Webster's, according to Webster's, it is an occupation of writing. Do you agree about that? Well, definitely, you don't have any choice about it, right? In which you are going to write periodicals. There. Next, according to Fraser F. Bond, something that embraces all forms uh, in which or through which news or comments or the news or pieces of information should reach the public. Yes, Jenny Lynn, it's all about production of reports. Now, if you will try to understand it, if you try to define campus journalism within our school, high school journalism, some school paper advisors of City of Schools of Manila thought that it is an enjoyable co-curricular activity. It's not an extracurricular but co-curricular. In short, it aids the curriculum for the learners to become more proficient about certain skills. Is that clear? Next, it has something to do with organizing and setting up a campus paper. That's it. Next, what are the common media forms or scope of journalism? What does it involve? Of course, there are three things. The written journalism, which involves periodicals such as newspapers and magazines. Oral journalism, which involves radio broadcasting, and I guess very much aware about that. And then visual journalism, which involves television, movies, and documentaries. Now, let me ask you children, please give some examples of written journalism that you know. Anyone?
Sir, magazine.
Could be magazine. Would you mind naming a magazine? Hello?
Sir, Candy Magazine.
Yeah, Candy Magazine, right? Anyone would love that. What
Vogue,
else?
Vogue magazine.
Yeah, aside from magazines.
Newspaper,
Oh,
sir.
let me exactly other newspapers. Oh, let's have it this way. I would just be telling you, or I would just be telling the particular newspaper or uh, magazine or anything, and then tell me if it's written, oral, or visual journalism. Are you ready? Yeah, you don't have any choice but to be ready, right? So first, you may post your answer in our chat page. Is that clear? Ready now, children? Oh, here. First, Philippine Daily Inquirer. Is it written, oral, or visual? Just type W for written, O for oral, or V for visual. Philippine Daily Inquirer. Right. I guess everyone got it right. It's written journalism. Next, DZ B. DZ DZ Eric, it is an oral journalism or oral journalism because DZ is the name of a radio station, right? No, Bombo Radio. Next, eyewitness. Eyewitness. It's visual. TV Patrol. TV Patrol. Is it oral? Sometimes it's oral, it is featured in the radio, right? But most of the time, it's visual. Very good. Another thing, that Rappler. How about Rappler? Rappler. Why is it written, Jenny Lynn?
Sir, because
Jenny Lynn?
it, sir, can you hear me po?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Because sir, most of the time, I saw the Rappler in the Facebook. In the,
What is Rappler, by the way?
it's just sir, but in the way that they only have written nga, sir.
Where could you find Rappler?
In the Facebook, sir. A lot.
Facebook?
Yes,
Is
sir,
it
a lot.
on the Facebook only?
Siguro sir,
Actually,
dun
it
ko lang po
is.
siya nakikita.
Oh yeah, because it's being featured there. However, they posted a link. It is an online news platform. We call it as online news platform because nowadays, children, isn't it that before it's all about the printed media only, printed, and then of course the radio, the oral journalism, and the visual, the TV. But nowadays, children, is more of what's that online thing, and you could also classify it as written. But what's good about oral, or what's good about the online publication or online news platform is that you could add lots of things there, not only with written journalism, but of course with oral. Because once you have your own website, news website, you may add some videos, you may add some podcasts. So therefore, children, as if online journalism or online platform is just a one-stop shop na of everything. Is that clear? Again, I will change my device so that I would be more comfortable about this one. Yeah, forgive me about this one. Could you hear me? Hello, hello. Yeah. Oh my God, internet connection. Yeah, I will just change my device for a while. Ah, I lost my connection. Ba yan? Sige na nga. Hello? Hello everyone. Could you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, could you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Something's happening bad in the internet. All right. Next, what is media literacy? A while ago, someone mentioned something about media literacy, and I guess this was the subject that you had tackled before, right? Uh, Lovely. What is media literacy?
Sir,
Lovely, could you hear me? Shy. Go ahead, Shy.
for
Shy
me,
then
sir,
Lovely.
media literacy is your ability to identify the different types of media and you are able to understand the message of it.
All right,
That's all,
very
sir.
good. Identification of different types of media, and you were able to understand it. Good job. Lovely. Lovely. Is Lovely here? Hello? Hello? Yeah. How about Joelyn? Joelyn, what is media literacy? Joelyn?
Knowing the methods and outlets in which information was published.
All right. Knowing the method in which the information has been published. Right? Thank you. Now, I guess this was mentioned by Shai a while ago, identifying the different types of media. When we speak of media, we don't mean only on social media, but instead, is, media is something that is related to way of communication. It's like a channel. Is that clear? Not a channel one, channel two, but instead a channel of, or meaning a path to communication. Media is a plural of medium. Is that clear? Medium of communication to be a form of language or device. Now, one classmate of yours answered what was the answer or what was sharing. For Gemery, media literacy encompasses the practices that allow people to access, critically evaluate, and create and manipulate media. Exactly, right? That is why most of the time social media is being used to manipulate many things, right? Now, what are samples of social media? It could be text messages, memes, viral videos, social media, video games, advertising, and many more. So I guess you had tackled this already, but this is just a review of the things about the things that you had tackled back when you were in senior high school. This is an in our course, you will be learning an in-depth application of media literacy. Yes? So media literacy involves the following things. It's not only all about social media, but anything that is within the social media or anything that you could watch, see, feel, or anything. Is that clear? That's why you have to be proficient about it. No? Next. Basis of media literacy. Here are the things. To learn to think critically. When you speak of thinking critically, you're not just contented with the things that you are hearing, but instead uh, would help you to ask questions. Yes, children? You become smart consumer products and information. You would not just uh you would just not let to be fed with lots of pieces of information only, but instead it would help you to think critically and to learn many things about it. Is that clear? For example, if you will buy something in the supermarket, the first thing that you would look would be the price, right? So much that we do have high inflation rate nowadays. But aside from that, of course, you're also considering the nutritional facts about it. No? Next, of course, recognize point of view. Remember, children, that in media literacy, you're not only thinking of yourself. You're not very selfish about some of the things that you know. But of course, you should also put yourself to other situation. You should also understand their situations for you to understand and recognize where does their opinion come from. Next, what did I press? And create media responsibly. Nowadays, fake news is very prevalent, right, children? And due to the spread of fake news, many people were misled. One good example, children, would be the SEA Games. Still familiar with SEA Games in 2019? What are the fake news that you had seen in social media during that time? Are you aware of SEA Games? Southeast Asian Games? Krisha, Krisha,
Sir,
are you aware of SEA Games?
no po.
Ano? How about you, Micaela? Southeast Asian Games.
Sir,
Yes, who's this Mary Joy? Mary Joy.
sir, is that the fake news about the food, the kikiam?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's one good fake news about that. Not really good, but bad. The kikiam. They said that some delegates were fed with kikiam, but it's not really kikiam, no. Because an athlete posted something in the internet and she said that it's like a kikiam, but it's not really a kikiam. I guess it's a chicken fillet. I don't know. I forgot already. But aside from that kikiam, of course, there are lots of food or buffet during that time. So they through those fake news, they showcase the flaws and bad side of the SEA Games. But in fact, it's not really bad, but one of the best SEA Games hosting. No?
Yes,
What else,
sir.
Mary, that you know?
Um, yun ang tandaan ko, sir. It's about, sir, it's not chicken rods or ano. Um, they clarified that they serve chicken sausage as part
Oh, chicken
of
sausage.
breakfast and breakfast buffet po. But
Oh,
um, as what the as what they said, it is kikiam, but it's not, sir.
yeah. And aside from that, it was that the media, most especially Rappler, spread that is all of our told to everyone that is just a kikiam. That means as if they are telling that our athletes are very deprived of the things that they are eating. But it's not. Honestly speaking, children, I was able to go to New Clark City in Tarlac because that was during our RSPC. Then one of our packages would be having a free ticket in New Clark City, and I saw the place. It's very good, and the hosting was was one of the best, very finest, and there are lots of foreigners out there, and they're really enjoying the place. I could certainly not agree more about having a very good hosting of SEA Games. And I also saw was that the cauldron? Am I right? Is it a cauldron? Please help me about that. The torch or whatever cost 50 million pesos. That's another fake news, children. Yeah, it costs 50 million pesos. But don't you know that that 50 million peso thing involves already the maintenance about it? Because children, there's a tradition in SEA Games. What is a tradition in SEA Games? That the flame of that torch should remain until 2 years. Gets? So from 2019, because SEA Games is by every 2 years, biennial or biennial, whatever, I forgot already the term. Annual, then just check the internet. That's it. Every 2 years. So within the 2 year span, the flame should be maintained. Yes, until a new host uh would carry the torch and would start the SEA Games again. Yes, children, that's a tradition of SEA Games. So that's 50 million thing would be used for maintenance within 2 years. And last one, to identify the role of media in our culture. Definitely children, because uh, through media, we get to know a lot of toxic Filipino culture, and also we get to know a lot of ourselves as well. And lastly, understand the author's goal. Remember, children, that uh, we should not believe what everything that we could see in the internet, because most of them are fake news. And the author would have lots of goals, or the writer of that news would have this kind of goal or propaganda thing. Later, I will be sharing to you some of those things, or maybe next meeting. Next, history of journalism in the world. I will just have a rundown about this one because everything is already in your lecture part. It all started in 15 BC in Rome. The first journal would be Acta Journa. It is composed of some uh, news about or updates about wars, because during that time there are lots of wars or invasion, right? To update the people about their victory of a particular war, they use this Acta Journa. In the 17th century, the first regularly published newspaper appeared in German cities or in Germany. And of course, magazines as well had been popularized in 17th century. During the 18th century, children, there had been a censorship already, because maybe they had already realized the importance of journalism and how can it affect the lives of many people. That is why for the people to be obedient about the government, they had this censorship, because they found out that journalism had been used to manipulate the minds of the people, of course, to learn the truth. And of course, having learned the truth would help them be empowered about it. That's why the government had this censorship, and most especially in European countries. In the 19th century, there's a cheap mass circulation magazines aimed, in short, it had they produce a magazine for less well-educated people. In short, a magazine that is affordable to everyone. Yes, in the 20th century, there's a greater sense of professionalism. They believe the importance of journalism in empowering the people to know the truth and to use the truth uh, to help the community to become progressive and uh, well informed. In the 21st century, from 2000 onwards, in the present time, it's already information saturated market. What do you mean by that? We are being fed with lots of information already. Pieces of information that can affect our lives, right? Just imagine the span of 21 years from 2000 to 2021. There are lots of pieces of information that we could learn. And in just one click, you have that already. History of journalism in the Philippines. Please be reminded and please memorize these things. Del Superior Gobierno was the first uh, publication published in the Philippines. And of course, it was the Spanish Governor General himself edited the publication. Definitely, so that he could censor everything that can be published. And then the first daily newspaper is La Esperanza, also catered for the Spanish elite only. In short, it can be understood by the Filipinos. The first nationalistic newspaper was La Solidaridad. And of course, uh, you know for a fact what La Solidaridad is, right? Who are the famous writers of La Solidaridad? Anyone that you know? Rhea May, Tulyao? Would you mind naming one writer of La Solidaridad? Rhea May, are you still with us? Rhea May, could you hear me?
Sir,
Rhea, yeah. Can you name one writer in La Solidaridad?
um, Graciano Lopez Haina.
Correct. Luciano Lopez Haina. Another, give me one. Leia Angeli. Very good, Micaela. Marcelo H. Del Pilar is the editor-in-chief of La Solidaridad. And Marcelo H. Del Pilar is referred to become the father of Philippine journalism. Take note, ha? Marcelo H. Del Pilar is the father of Philippine journalism. The first local publication, written of course in Ilocano, would be El Ilocano. And the other newspapers advocated political reforms are, of course, Kalayaan, La Independencia, La Libertad, and El Heraldo de Iloilo. And all of them were published in 1898 during the Spanish-Philippine War, the Revolution perhaps, Philippine Revolution. History journalism in the Philippines still during the American regime. These are the newspapers, and they are written in English. Manila Times, 1898, the Bounding Below Official Gazette, I guess they are no longer existing. Manila Daily Bulletin or Manila Bulletin now, and Philippine Free Press, right? I guess Philippine Daily Inquirer was published by Maximo Sullivan during the 90s na or 1980s. During the World War II, only Manila Tribune, Taliba, and La Vanguardia are the ones being allowed by the Japanese. Now, history of campus journalism in the Philippines, I will just have a rundown about these things. It all started with El Liliputiense. It's the first campus publication in a particular university, and it is in University of Santo Tomas. And it had been followed by the College Folio, now Philippine Collegiate University of the Philippines. I hope you had a friend who has lots of copies of Philippine Collegiate, and you could borrow one copy perhaps, and there you could find already lots of was that very progressive and very critical articles, critical to the government perhaps. And it is, I guess, Philippine Collegian featured a particular picture of Duterte humiliating him. My God, if you will be able to find out about these things. Try to follow their page in FB, the Philippine Collegian as well. And then the Coconut. Remember, children, that the first and oldest high school newspaper in the country is the Coconut. The Coconut was published in Manila High School, now Arroyo High School in 1912 during the American period. And Carlos P. Romulo, one of the most intelligent Filipino diplomats ever, served as one of the editor or as the editor of the Coconut. I don't know if the Coconut still existing, but in some competition I don't hear it anymore. But I guess until now they are still producing it. And then until such time, I hope you had read the lecture. There are some campus paper there already. Until now, still existing. The Pampangan in Pampanga, the Melting Pot in Tarlac National High School, and the SPA there was a friend of mine as well. Who else? And many others. Try to scan na lang the lecture. Now, let's try to analyze this. I guess this is the one that I shared last time about Rappler News. Right? Still familiar about this? Wala, you're still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me share to you the link, children, of this Rappler article in our chat pane. Yeah. The headline is Willie Revillame hijacks Roque press briefing to promote charity GMA show. Let's access the news article. And let's try to read the lead. This is the first paragraph. Let's try to identify if the headline matches with the article.
Sir.
Yes, Kyla.
Sir, was that the episode of Willie Revillame announces that he will give 5 million, I guess? Or I'm not sure, sir, but it's a large amount of money to some people po eh. I'm not sure, but I have watched that some
Yeah, you're
episode
correct.
like
It's 5 million. Yeah. Actually, it's an episode in Channel 4, press con of, or press briefing of spokesperson Harry Roque. And then, it so happened that Harry Roque asked a favor to Willie Revillame if he could use one of his rooms in Will Tower as a venue of his press briefing. And since Willie Revillame and Harry Roque are good friends, he allowed him to use one of the function halls of Will Tower for Harry Roque for free, of course. And there, Harry Roque invited Willie Revillame to join in his press con and then announce that he will donate 5 million pesos. Right? I guess Will Revillame also showed this in his show in Wawa Win, to talk to Win in GMA. Here's a headline. The verb that was used is hijacks. Remember, in journalism, verbs are very important. Gets? And what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word hijacks, Kyla?
Something which is done illegally but not to that extent, sir. I'm just that's
Right. Yeah, it's fine. That is your opinion, right? And that's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear something about hijacks. Bad is something illegal, right? Very good. However, let's try to read the lead. This is not actually the lead. The lead here is presidential spokesperson Harry Roque's virtual press briefing on Friday, August 7th, unexpectedly took on talk show vibes after television host Willie Revillame seemed to barge into it to talk about his charity efforts and even plug his Jimmy show. If you happen to watch that particular segment in Harry Roque's press briefing, at first, what would be your reaction? Your reaction would be you're very happy, and of course, you would say that Will Revin is very kind, right? However, Pia Ranada, the writer of this article, yeah, she thought that's about talk show na. It becomes a talk show in which Willie Revillame seemed to barge into it. My God, oh, wrong grammar pa. To barge, past tense, however it should be uh, base form, right? And they did not correct this. So what are your thoughts about this one, children? Please share your thoughts, children. Remember, this is campus journalism and you're required to speak. Shai Parcon, any thoughts about this article? Hello? If you're shy to speak, you may perhaps post it in our chat pane. Do you think the lead matches the headline? And do you think uh, what do you think is the impression that the writer would want us to understand in this article? Hello? Hello?
sir.
Oh yes, Kyla.
I think the author Pia is allowing us to view Willie Revillame as someone political or showing his connection with Harry Roque and also low-key bragging or humble bragging about the amount he will give to the people. But for me, sir, it really I got pissed to be honest while watching that because after Willie told the public of him giving 5 million, Harry Roque and the other staff, I think, or I guess, even said that they also want the ayuda and Loki saying that na sana kami din, parang sana all, parang ganun, sir. That's my
Yeah.
thoughts po.
Yeah, thank you. Also, that is the feeling that you had. Good. So that's it. That is the thing that Pia Ranada wanted to deliver. That emotion of being pissed off, humble bragging about it, right? For Rhea May, something negative. Why do you say something negative, Rhea May? Rhea May, hello. All right, for Rhea May, you view it as something negative. Negative in the sense that, yeah, Kyla had mentioned it already as if it's a humble bragging, no? But actually, if you will try to uh, get the context, or there's the context already, this is a problem with journalism. You have to understand the context about it, or else you're the one to give a particular context. In this article by Pia Ranada, her impression had been very predominant about this. What? She lost her connection. Yeah, it's fine, Kyla. She's very, was it, her emotion and her impression really dominated the article. But if you will try to get the context, if you will ask really revealing me personally or whatsoever, he's just doing it just to be a model to everyone. That would be another context. Remember the word context. In journalism, it's important that you should get the context of someone for you not to be labeled as fake news. You have to try to understand what his message is, because at the end of the day, it would make us divided, and it would help us, it would make us very confused about many things, right? Now, children, if we'll try to understand this article, is it sensationalized? Maybe perhaps yes, or maybe perhaps no. But it depends upon the one who is reading the article. If you felt like it's somewhat bad, so be it. Or if you felt like it's a good thing, no problem with that. Now, another thing, children, I have here an article about DOJ, but we'll no longer be discussing these things anymore. But let's try to compare the two, Rappler and Manila Tribune. Our Daily Tribune, and Daily Tribune is a very, or one of the most established newspaper in news agency or news publication in the Philippines, right? If you try to compare the two, children, Rappler's headline would be DOJ clears Pimentel quarantine breach, shrinks scope of law. For Daily Tribune, Pimentel, junking of complaint on violation of quarantine protocols correct and unassailable. Please try to access the two articles, children.
Sir,
Yes, Kyla.
I think both of them are somehow the same because of the last part in the Rappler's headline, shrink scope of law, and also in Daily Tribune, correct unassailable. It seems like they are implying that Pimentel is untouchable because he is a government official.
Yeah, very good, Kyla. Nice analysis. Who else will have an analysis about this? If you try to read the two articles, children, you may be able to realize something about Rappler's style in writing and Daily Tribune. In Daily Tribune, they just, the words are very good. What they did would be they just presented the report. They just reported the facts. Simple as that. Mentioning that Pimentel's complaint is, or was that he did not violate any quarantine protocols because in the first place, he cooperated with the government. While in Rappler, they showed lots of evidence and some law that had been violated by Pimentel. So the clear propaganda here would be Rappler has this propaganda of telling everyone that here, hey, here's the law. Why are you not following it? Or it is clearly stated that Pimentel violated something, but it seems like it's not the real thing. But in Daily Tribune, they mentioned that uh, he did not, his complaint had been junked, had been dismissed because, according to DOJ, he cooperated with the investigation. In short, that's the real thing. There's a good and bad side, there's a propaganda thing, and there is the reporting thing. And the challenge here now is that where would you place yourself? Where would you situate yourself? Yes, children? Which do you think would be more intriguing? Definitely the article of Rappler. But if you'll try to analyze, your purpose as a campus journalist would be more of reporting the facts, reporting the who, why, what, when, where. But if you have this propaganda thing, definitely you will go with the Rappler. Next week, we'll try to discuss those things. Is that clear? I guess we had answered this already with the Rappler and Daily Tribune. And what? And did you have any questions or did you post any question in our